is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. As promised, I am back talking about all 4 of the Toy Story movies, and this is my Toy Stories ranked video. I need you guys in the comments. Let me know your order, 1 through 4. Which one's your favorite? Which one's your least favorite? I would love to see your list. And you guys checked out my Pixar tier list where I placed every single Pixar movie on a tier except for Toy Story 4. At the end of this video, I will fulfill my promise and place Toy Story 4 on that list so you guys get to see where I would rank it. Okay, we're talking the Toy Story movies now. This is really one of those lists where I'm not really telling you what the worst Toy Story movie is. It's more of I'm telling you the one that is my least favorite, but I still love the movie. Last place on this list is better than most of the films I have seen this year, and it is still one of my favorite Pixar movies, guys. This franchise is just so incredible. And let's get right into this list, right? My number 4 is actually Toy Story 2. Toy Story 2 is my least favorite. Saying least favorite is like, it's not fair. It's like picking between my children that I don't have yet. I do have a dog, though. But Toy Story 2 is one of those films. It's actually, and I've said this like 3 or 4 times in my videos, it's my first theatrical experience ever. My parents, they knew how much I loved Toy Story growing up, right? Then at the ripe age of 4, they took me to the theater to see Toy Story 2, to see all of these characters that I had grown up with on the big screen, my first ever big screen experience. My mom said I was actually pretty well behaved. She said after my brother was born, I was not. So Toy Story 2, guys, what is so special about this movie is that it carries on what we love about the first, but it creates a more grand scale story, right? Woody gets ripped at the beginning of this movie, and it's heartbreaking. He experiences these flashback scenes, these scenes just showing him, hey, you're not wanted anymore. Andy doesn't love you. Is the thoughts going through his head, and then he sees that another toy gets taken to a yard sale. And the yard sale is this big thing in this movie, and it always cracks me up every time I watch it. Yard sale! A yard sale! I can just think of the lines. I'm getting giddy like a schoolgirl. I can just think of the lines in this film that crack me up and make me so happy. But Woody gets taken, and they have to go on a journey to find Woody, as opposed to the first, where Woody went on a journey to find Buzz. And I loved everything about this story, right? You have a very heartbreaking story of a toy that just feels like he does not belong anymore because there's something wrong with him. Then he finds this new group of people that accept Woody as he is, because Woody finds out he was this massive thing a long time ago. He had a show. He had all these toys made about him. He's the one that they've been wanting for so long. Jesse, Bullseye, and the Prospector. And I really enjoyed the Prospector as a character. He's one of the weaker villains of the franchise, but he's still a great villain. That's a testament to Toy Story. But you add the likes of Kelsey Grammer and a great voice cast on top of the voice cast that we already had. You keep the consistency of the adult jokes mixed with the kid jokes, and you have a movie that is just heartbreaking, heartwarming. The end is so the opposite of climactic. That's the word. Because it incorporates everything we had seen prior. Woody's Roundup, the music that plays when Woody starts finding all of this stuff out, plays at the end when they're chasing the airplane, and Woody is screaming out, "Ride like the wind, Bullseye," and it's just a beautiful experience, and you care so much about these characters, and the fact that Buzz is on that final adventure with them, it's just also epic and awesome. That's what I'll say about Toy Story 2. It is epic. Now, Austin, why is it last on your list? Well, something had to be last, honestly. And I do have a few flaws, as in there are a lot of storylines happening here. I don't really have a major problem with any of them. It's just a lot. It's a lot to soak in, and it's not as compelling as the first. The themes are there, the ideas are there, and it puts a tear to my eye every time I watch the movie, but I just don't like it as much as the other 3. But once again, come on, guys. My children. Okay, number 3. Toy Story 4 was wonderful. I loved it. I loved it so much. I loved it more than I ever thought I would love it. I don't like it significantly more than Toy Story 2, but I think this film nailed it, right? You have a movie that people are anticipating, but they're hesitant because the first 3 Toy Stories are so well respected. If you botch this, if you ruin Toy Story 4, it could ruin the franchise in some people's eyes. Not mine. I would still hold the first 3 close to my heart, but Toy Story 4, captured nostalgia to a perfect degree, and it mixed it with 2019 filmmaking, and I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. I mean the visuals. It is a new, semi-new art style for Toy Story, so I had to get used to that. But the visuals and the photorealistic backgrounds and just the elements, right? When they're in the antique store, just walking through the spider webs, it is incredible to watch, and this movie just nailed it. It nailed everything that it needed to nail. I think Woody and Buzz, their relationship was awesome. Now, I'm not going to spoil anything right now. When I place it on a tier here at the end, I may talk about something that happened towards the end. I'll put a spoiler warning then, but as of right now, I just want to tell you guys that Toy Story 4 is worth going to a theater and seeing, and some may be disappointed. I saw a few people in my comment section last night saying, Austin, the movie was disappointing, and that's okay. Not everyone is going to feel the sensation that I felt, but listen, sitting in a theater with that much hesitation for a franchise that you love with all of your heart is a scary thing, because I don't want them to ruin this, but Josh Cooley came in and just destroyed it. He gave us a smaller scale story than I anticipated, because it really is Woody's story. He finds Bo, he finds these characters, he finds this new life when he is trying to go after Sporky, and it is so interesting seeing how his character develops, how he tries to get used to these new characters as they're trying to figure out how they're going to get Forky back. And then the villain was way more interesting than I thought the villain was going to be. I still don't think it's better than Lotso. I still don't think it's better than Sid, but she is just really fun, thoroughly entertaining, and the dummies, some of the more creepier things. This movie also does a great job, and I said this in the review, of implementing horrifying aspects or just really creepy aspects. Creepy for us, horrifying for kids. It's a kids movie that works for adults. Once again, Toy Story always does that. But this one for me did an even better job than Toy Story 3 of capturing certain nostalgic elements of 1 and 2. I think the music incorporation in this one was more Randy Newman. Randy Newman did the score for 3, but this one was just more, it felt like Randy Newman as opposed to Toy Story 3, which still did, but this one had more going for it in that sense, and I thought the score of this movie was incredible. And then the funny aspects of Toy Story 4. The movie's hilarious. When you have Key and Peele, when you have Keanu Reeves, as awesome as Keanu Reeves has been this summer, he has also been really funny in his own like crazy way in John Wick, Always Be My Maybe, but man, he nails Duke Kaboom. And then, like I said, Key and Peele, some of the best just off-the-cuff dialogue I've ever seen in a Toy Story movie. Only Key and Peele can capture that, guys. I love Toy Story 4. I think this movie nails it. I'll talk about the ending of this film here at the end of the video, but yeah, it's number 3 on my list, and saying it's number 3 on this list is like, you get the gold trophy. My number 2 is Toy Story 3, and it is so close to the first, because I think Toy Story 3 gave us the definitive, we didn't know at the time we were getting a Toy Story 4, and Toy Story 4 did bring so many elements that I never knew I wanted, but the things that I knew I needed answered in this movie, in Toy Story 3, were answered. The things that I needed from the characters that we love, the side characters, Ham, Rex, Mr. Potato Head. That's my biggest critique with Toy Story 4, is we didn't get enough of these characters, but we did get enough of them in Toy Story 3. They fleshed out really all of their storylines. This heartbreak of Andy now going to college and leaving the toys that he grew up with, and they just want to be played with. They just want to feel like they're a part of something else. That's heartbreaking. And it's so sad to see these characters from the first 2 movies that were so happy when Andy walked in a room, that loved playing with Andy, that fed off of the affection. This is what they're made for. And then once Andy's done with them, what we see in Toy Story 4 with Sporky, they're trash, basically. They feel that way, and that's the vibe I was getting in this movie. They feel like they don't belong anymore. And then Andy goes to college, and they accidentally get thrown away to Sunnyside Academy, and this just turns into one big Lotso. Lotso is the devil, and Sunnyside is hell, baby. And the characters are placed in hell, and they have to find their way out. They have to find where they actually belong. And this movie, to me, was fascinating, because they took a concept that I never thought they would explore as a Toy Story franchise. They explored it, they delved in deep to the characters and to the storyline, and gave us something that was magical. And the levels of emotion, and the different kinds of emotion. You feel sympathy, you feel fear, you feel heartbreak, and then you feel happiness. At the main end of the movie, the main end is the happiest yet saddest ending to an animated film I've ever seen. Because you go from that moment at the end up, the toys are about to die, they're about to meet their maker. I said hell before, but the end of this movie is literally, they're going towards the flames. And even rewatching this last week, I was starting to like shed a tear because of the look on all of their faces when they just accept their fate, they hold hands, and they go in. And they meet their maker. And that's the end until, of course, they get saved. Inevitably, it's a kid's movie. But the fact that they went that far blew me away. And then you have the main end. You thought it was crazy then. You have the main end when Andy gives them up to Bonnie. And you go from scared to death to heartbroken. And that's when the waterworks really start to come out, guys. Toy Story 3, it's just masterful. The fact that they brought this series back and they did it in a way that was so inventive and new, and you could tell that they loved the characters this much, guys. It was awesome. What a wonderful experience. And the only reason it's not number one is because of Toy Story 1, the original, the OG. Now, I can understand how some people will say, well, it's clearly not as good as 3, or it's clearly not as good as 2, because Toy Story 1 is the most dated. I don't think it's dated at all, right? Because it's 1995, but visually it's probably the most dated. And then authentically, it may not be as grand scale as the other 3. Well, the other 2, Toy Story 4 wasn't very grand scale, but guys, Toy Story 1 gave us these characters, started it all, and I haven't really talked about Woody and Buzz yet because this is kind of where we got to know them, where we started fleshing out their characters, where Woody was introduced to this character that was just about to take his place. And you see that jealousy and that envy, and I ain't gonna lie, Woody wasn't the nicest guy in this movie. He's very, he's kind of douchey to Buzz, and I got called out for saying that in my Pixar tier list, but you have to face the facts, man. Woody was just like, oh, okay, all right. Don't get me wrong, I love that aspect of Woody. I think it provides some of the best and most adult humor we've seen in the entire franchise, and honestly, I can say that about this entire movie. While I think Toy Story 4 is the funniest all the way through, I think Toy Story 1 has the best adult humor. The side comments made by Ham, and especially Mr. Potato Head, who, God, I wanted to see more of in Toy Story 4. Oh my God, those two characters are hilarious in this movie. Just the way they go about making fun of Buzz and Woody all throughout. Well, not necessarily Buzz, because these characters, they see Buzz, they're in awe of Buzz, and they defend Buzz. And Buzz is just a character who is lost, right? He's trying to find his place in the world. He thinks he's this star command officer. He is this hero. He's going on this mission. He doesn't know where he is. He thinks his ship is just crashed, destroyed. They're trying to fix it. And this entire time, Woody is just jealous because Andy is starting to replace Woody with Buzz. Now, at the end of the day, Woody was always Andy's favorite. Just Woody doesn't understand that because kids go through phases. They go from, oh, the cowboy who's a bit more lame now. Now we have the Space Ranger. You're not a Space Ranger. You're a child's plaything. So many quotable lines from this movie. Pizza Planet, you get introduced to that. The aliens, I mean, so many great side characters. And then Sid. Sid is a wonderful villain. Didn't really talk about Lotso much, even though I think Lotso is incredible. One of the best villains we've ever seen in a Pixar movie. But Sid, man, Sid is literally murdering toys. He's not holding them captive. He's not trying to take parts from them. He's murdering them, right? And this is one of the most sinister things I've ever seen when Woody and Buzz go to Sid's house and see what he has done to these toys. And it's one of the creepiest scenes I've ever seen when they slowly start approaching our characters and you see the heads ripped off of certain characters and placed on others. It is pure horror, and I loved it because it's going to scare the crap out of kids like it did me when I was younger, but it's also going to enthrall them when they find that victory and when they realize that those characters aren't necessarily the bad guys. It's what Sid has done. And then when they take their stance against Sid, it's one of the coolest things because you see all of these toys come into their own and they have overcome what Sid has done to them. And Woody has realized that Buzz deserves his place there. And Buzz has realized that he is a toy, not Mrs. Nesbit, which is another one of those, I'm Mrs. Nesbit. 1 minute you're defending the whole galaxy. And the next minute, you find yourself sucking down Darjeeling with Mary Antoinette and her little sister. I really need to stop. Guys, I love Toy Story 1, and this is the best showcase of Randy Newman and his talents. I mean, the songs all throughout are incredible. And another thing I can give a testament to the first movie is it created the score for Toy Story. When they played those themes in 2 and 3, and for my heart sinks because it just throws me back to the original and it brings that nostalgia out. Pixar, they know what they're doing. They know how to bring nostalgia out of you, but it all started with the OG, the original Toy Story 1. That's my favorite. But if you're younger than me or maybe older than me and you didn't grow up with 1, maybe you grew up with 2 or 3 or 4 and that's your favorite, guys, that's fine. That's the beauty of this franchise. Even though 1 is my favorite and 2 is my least favorite, they're very close to each other. Toy Story, it's the Toy Story effect. They just know how to give us great characters, great worlds, and great movies. And all right, guys, I can't believe I'm doing this. It's very fresh in my mind still, and I have to see it again. But as of the score that I gave this movie, I have to be consistent and place Toy Story 4 probably higher than some other people are going to place it, but it really swept me away. Belongs on the awesome tier for me. I think Toy Story 4 is an awesome movie. I hate to put 3 Toy Story movies on the awesome tier, but you know what? Gotta be consistent, and I think this movie is just absolutely wonderful. One of the best movies I have seen this year, and I loved it. And let's get into spoiler territory real quick, just in case you haven't seen it. You can tune out now. Thank you guys for watching. But oh my God, the ending to this movie is so heartbreaking. Woody's gone. This is the end. This is the definitive end of Woody's story in the Toy Story universe, and it got me, guys. It got me. I was shedding tears when they were both driving away to infinity and beyond. That exchange between Buzz and Woody, I'm getting emotional just thinking about it. It was wonderful. I mean, Woody has spent all this time with these toys, and he's been consistently trying to find his place, and he had it for a while, and then he lost it. But now, I think he's happy. Woody is happy. Buzz and the toys are happy, and he's with Bo Peep, and I think the closest to a love story we will ever get in the Toy Story universe was wonderfully executed. And I didn't want to say that in my review because saying it's a love story, you could probably be like, yeah, he might end up with Bo Peep, and that's exactly what happens, guys. The toys are now separated, and Woody's story, in my opinion, has come to an end, and it might be the last we ever see of him. Guys, what a wonderful way to end this franchise if this is how they're going to end it. I don't think they're going to end it with this movie. Now, we know they have Disney Plus shows coming out about other characters, but whether we get another movie or not, that's up in the air. But in terms of Woody's story, possibly Buzz's story, guys, perfect. Mwah. Love the way they did it. Thank you guys so much once again for watching this movie, commenting all of your thoughts. You are the absolute best, and I'll see you very soon.